Mzee wa Kimasai anamtuza rais alama ya uongozi.
When then Kenyan Prime Minister, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, convened an urgent cabinet meeting at his Gatondo home in the late 1963, the young nation was under threat of losing a huge chunk of over 127,000 square kilometers of landmass comprising present-day Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit, Garissa, and Isiolo counties under the then Northern Frontier District, which wanted to break off and join the larger Somalia. Under the shade of a huge mango tree at his home, Mzee Kenyatta declared a state of emergency in the north, paving way for the deadly shifter war of the 60s. But 52 years since the 1967 defeat of the secession attempt, Jomo's son, President Uhuru Kenyatta, is again breathing fire at Mogadishu. And it has all to do with the February 7th London oil and gas auction, where Somalia reportedly offered gas and oil blocks located within this triangular-shaped maritime space in the Indian Ocean, upon which Kenya is laying a claim, and which is currently the subject of a bitter diplomatic dispute between Kenya and Somalia at the Hague-based International Court of Justice.
Kenya's position about this serious matter is as follows and is immutable, that we will not cede any inch of Kenyan territory to anyone or any government.
But what really are Kenya's options in this standoff? A Thursday morning cabinet sitting adopted a resolution to advance further dialogue with Somalia, but with the option of reverting to tough sanctions against the war-torn neighbor should dialogue fail. A resolution which Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Dr. Monica Juma later communicated to the National Assembly Defense and Foreign Relations Committee. Sources in the meeting intimated to KTN News of Kenya's suspicion that oil companies from Norway and the United Kingdom may have a hand in the raging standoff, amid fears of likely politicization of the case before the International Court of Justice.
The issue can be resolved, but we have to stamp our authority and say either it belongs to us or it belongs to them. But either way, we need to have a solution. What is the solution? We meet, we can't agree, then the matter is taken for arbitration.
I hope that the two leaders of the country will clarify the issue and any kind of disputes will be solved in a diplomatic manner.
In a statement earlier this week, Somalia had denied auctioning the contentious oil. Ironically, in the same statement, Somalia did not deny inclusion of the contentious maritime space in the maps presented in the London auction, insisting the maps in question are entirely consistent with Somalia's long-standing position, including its claim on the maritime delimitation case with Kenya.
All of you have been doing a lot of research.
But Nairobi claims that Somalia is already in the final stages of an elaborate bidding process to sell the contentious oil blocks, a process which ends in December with the maturity date of the 1st of January next year for the company that eventually emerges the successful bidder.
The meaning of this is that the federal government of Somalia is deliberately misleading the world, because there is a schedule, there is a plan, there is a process, and it has been announced, and people have been invited.
Some of the companies that may be involved are very well connected with the powerful people in European capitals, politically powerful people, not just financially. Of course, they're financially powerful, but also politically powerful people. So it looks as if it's an indirect aggression on Kenya.
Kenya has been a critical component both in terms of international diplomacy and also in terms of facilitation. And therefore, these other side shows, these other issues that I imagine right now should not compromise the role we have played in the stabilization of Somalia.
During the shifter menace of the 60s, Somalia tactically employed both pseudo-diplomacy and propaganda tactics. This saw the Northern Frontier District secession calls find their way to the Lancaster House meetings that negotiated Kenya's independence. Somalia eventually lost in the conference rooms, but ventures into fierce propaganda through Radio Mogadishu, which was the only radio station whose airwaves could reach the Kenyan north. A state of affairs which saw the Kenyan independence government establish Eastern Radio. through then state broadcaster Voice of Kenya to counter the growing propaganda as the shifter war raged on. But can this latest standoff, coupled with Kenya's fears that Somalia could be disinterested in the resolution of the maritime dispute through court, draw Kenya into a military confrontation with Somalia?
We hope not, and that is why we have remained very restrained. Countries have gone to war for far less than this, but we have remained extremely restrained in the hope that we can find a way of engaging and resolving this matter.
Diplomacy, they say, is the art of managing international relations, but with deeply vested domestic, regional and multinational interests in the contentious maritime space. More letters will no doubt be flying between Mogadishu and Nairobi as this dispute intensifies. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.